10, OFL football has a marquee matchup here in Cleveland, Ohio, as the 7-1 Pittsburgh Steelers take on the equally as good 7-1 Cleveland Browns in a game that will be very fun, as Darius Geis tries to go for a spin move, but is popped behind the backfield by Kevin Byard. 2nd and 11, Aaron Rodgers, more time than someone waiting in a Wendy's drive-thru. He's going to scramble like he's late on a date, and he's going to find the former Eagle and Patriot Jordan Matthews, who brings it to the 28. Then, FN19, A-Rod, the reigning OFL champion Steelers, Rodgers, looking deep for Nelson Aguilar. Steelers kicked a field goal, by the way, on their last drive, so it's 3-0. Now Cleveland has the ball as the Steelers go for the punt, and it lands at the 9-yard line. So not looking good for Pittsburgh. 2 minutes to go until halftime. Not a lot of action in the first half. The game got more interesting as it went on, as Jacoby Brissett would be sacked by a pair of Steelers. And as you can see, he is injured, not getting up. This could be a huge loss for Cleveland, but luckily he should return next week, but did not return in this one. The backup for Cleveland is Joe Flacco. Steelers still up 3-0 as Aaron Rodgers showing off the wheels for a gain of 10. 2nd and 14 now for Rodgers and the crew, as the former Cal Golden Bear sailing one deep for the old man Greg Olsen. The former Carolina Panther brings it to the 31, leading to another Steeler field goal at 6-0 as Christian McCaffrey with a move, with another move, and he's going to take it the distance, 63 yards, and the Steelers go down for the first time today as Christian McCaffrey gives the Cleveland Browns the lead, 7-6 now. Steelers trying to get back on top as Rodgers is sacked on 2nd and 6. However, a flag on the play. Coach Berry not too thrilled, as it would be a face mask on the Cleveland Browns. Penalty would be on Ahkello Witherspoon, and the sack technically wouldn't count. This time the Steelers would be sacked as Andrew Sendejo gets him clean. The former Minnesota Viking with the play, setting up a 2nd and long. Now 3rd down and 11 as Aaron Rodgers trying to make a play. Rodgers finds Juju Smith-Schuster, who had a pretty nice second half. The former USC Trojan, who was drafted in the OFL draft by the Steelers, who he happened to play for originally. 3rd down and 6. Steelers convert again. This time it's Greg Olsen for a gain of 16, bringing them into the red zone. 3rd and goal. Steelers need a touchdown. Well, they don't need it, but they'd like it, as Aaron Rodgers finds Jordan Matthews for 6. And the Pittsburgh Steelers would regain the lead with a Jordan Matthews touchdown. They'd go for 2. Nice grab from Juju, and the Steelers would make it a 7-point lead. Cleveland trying to come back with Joe Flacco as he finds Evan Engram showing off the straight line speed. Evan Engram with a gain of 54 yards. Very nice performance from Joe Flacco. The 3rd stringer the Browns have is Daniel Jones, who's also very respectable. As on, I believe, 2nd down, Evan Engram gets the touchdown. And it's now a 3-point game as the Steelers were able to kick a field goal. 2:42 to go. Browns trying to take the lead as Joe Flacco scrambling. Flacco now showing off the wheels, trying to show off his speed. Nice run from him. Very next play, Flacco sailing one deep for Evan Engram, the former Ole Miss Rebel, bringing it for 19. And then Flacco to Evan Engram again, this time for 6, untouched like weekend homework. And the Cleveland Browns would take the lead. What a second half from Evan Engram. 21-17, Steelers need a game-winning drive. And that's a very good start as Juju Smith-Schuster gains 19. 3rd down and 4, Steelers need to convert as Aaron Rodgers has plenty of time, more time than someone waiting at a McDonald's drive-thru at 5:30 in the morning, as Juju brings it to the 26. Next play, A-Rod finds Jordan Wilkins, who loses 3 yards. Nice play from the Browns defense. 4th and 13, Steelers absolutely need a conversion as Rodgers, it looked like a good pass for Jordan Matthews, however deflected by the Browns. Juju questions the pass. Now the Steelers need a stop, and Divine Ozigbo would say, no, as the former Cornhusker would finally be brought down. Steelers had trouble tackling him, and the Steelers could not win this game. Cleveland improves to 8-1 by winning 21-17. This game ends as the Cleveland Browns get a win in a 4th quarter comeback. They did not score when Jacoby Brissett was in the game, but Joe Flacco led them in 3 touchdown drives. Flacco did not throw an incompletion all day, and while Brissett will be better for next week, The way Flacco played, it might be hard not to start him. Aaron Rodgers was solid for Pittsburgh, didn't make too many mistakes, and Brissett, when he was in the game, he wasn't horrible. Running the ball, Christian McCaffrey had that one really nice run, but other than that, quiet day from everyone. Receiving, big game for Evan Engram, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. Greg Olsen, Juju were both pretty good. Jordan Matthews with a touchdown for the Steelers. Blocking, the only sack allowed was by Jeremy Parnell. 9 tackles for Kevin Byard. The leader for Pittsburgh was Ramik Wilson and Demarius Randall. Sacks, 1 for Akello Witherspoon, Andrew Sendejo, half a sack for Matt Judon and Daniil Hunter. Interceptions, none. The Chicago Bears improved to 7-2, defeating the Washington Redskins 21-17. The same score we just saw. As looking at the statistics, C.J. Beathard was not good. Redskins patiently awaiting the return of Bryant Lewerke, which I think will be soon. Jimmy G was solid, but actually not really that good. Running the ball, Rojo was decent. Myles Gaskin with a touchdown. Not much for Tevin Coleman, who's been playing really well. Big game for Julian Edelman. Malcolm Mitchell with 2 touchdowns. Alshon Jeffrey, Gerald Everett also get on the board. Blocking, sacks were allowed 3 from Charles Leno. 1 for Jack Mewhort, Riley Reef, PU. Highlight, Connor Williams, Brennan Fusco, and Tariq Cole. 9 tackles for Fred Warner. Leader for Washington was Jordan Hicks with 6. Sacks, 1 for Luke Kuechly, Dietrich Wise, Lorenzo Carter, Austin Bryant, Derek Morgan, Anthony Walker, David Moa, Michael Pearson, Harold Landry. No shortage of pass rush. Interceptions by Luke Kuechly, Tavon Young, and Jason McCourty. The Packers lose another heartbreaker, this time by 2 points, to the Kansas City Chiefs, 26-24. Phillip Rivers, Baker Mayfield each threw 3 touchdowns and an interception. Running the ball, Alvin Kamara was pretty good. Kerryon Johnson, 3.6 yards a carry. That's my boy. Pretty quiet game for Saquon. Randall Cobb with 2 touchdowns for KC. Brennan Cooks on the board for Green Bay. Larry Fitzgerald also gets a touchdown. Austin Hooper and none other than Kerryon Johnson get touchdowns. Blocking, 2 sacks allowed by Bo Benchueza, 1 for Mitch Hyatt. 13 tackles for Blake Martinez. Sacks by Blake Martinez, Jared Davis, and Carroll Phillips, former Illinois player. And then interceptions for Marcus Peters and Leonard Floyd. The Detroit Lions beat the user killer 21-14. That team being the San Francisco 49ers. Jared Goff with an okay game. Actually, very nice completion percentage. Not great for Deshaun Watson. Running the ball, Shady McCoy was decent. Duke Johnson with a touchdown. Isaiah Crowell was busy. Big game for John Brown, 9 for $127. Demaryius Thomas with a touchdown. Kenny Golladay with a touchdown. Isaiah Crowell also with a score. No sacks allowed by either team. 9 tackles for big play Darius Slay as well as Kenny Vaccaro. Sacks, half a sack for Avery Jones and Sidney Jones. And then interceptions, 2 for Vaccaro and 1 for Shaq Thompson. Pretty high scoring game as the Carolina Panthers improved to 4-4-1. I believe they are 3-0-1 in their last 4, beating the struggling 3-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-24. Wes Lunt with a huge performance, 71% completion percentage, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns. Will Grier threw 3 picks. Running the ball, Jerick McKinnon was good. Kenyon Drake with a touchdown. Receiving, Tyler Lockett with a nice game. Ardarius Stewart as well, 2 touchdowns for Kareem. The best kicker in the league, Hunt. Philip Dorsett also with a score. 2 sacks allowed by Brendan Parker, 1 by Kalichio Semele, Jonah Williams, Michael Dieter, John Miller, and no one else. Tackles, 10 for Josh Jones. Leader for Carolina was Sua Cravens with 8. Sacks, 2 for the big boy Calais Campbell, 1 for Tyron Crawford, Daniel Buchanan, Malik Hooker, Cleveland Ferrell, and Cam Hayward. Interceptions, 1 for Terrence Mitchell, Greedy Williams, and Roquan Smith. The New York Jets beat the Philadelphia Eagles 24-17. Case Keenum, 3 touchdowns. He's been really good in the sim this year. Running the ball, David Johnson with 2 scores, but a very bad yards per carry. Receiving, Devontae Adams, nice game for New York. 2 touchdowns for Allen Robinson, 1 for Gronk. Blocking, 2 sacks allowed by Cody Whitehair, Bryant Wolf, and Michael Jordan, 1 allowed by Ryan Kelly. Leader in tackles for Philly was Avery Williamson with 8. 2 sacks for DeMarcus Lawrence, Michael Kendricks, 1 for Robert Quinn and DeMarcus Walker. Have a sack for Sheldon Richardson and Chidobe Awuzie, and there were no interceptions. With the addition of head coach Jake Pride Sr., the Vikings are 2-0 with him in 2 blowout victories, 24-3. They beat the Dallas Cowboys, who are a pretty decent team, led by Blake Bortles, who struggled. Andrew Luck actually played well in the sim for once. Running the ball, Jordan Howard was pretty good. Not much other action there in the receiving game. Paul Richardson with a touchdown. Kyle Rudolph with 1. Jordan Howard with 1. Blocking. Sacks were allowed. None, actually. Defensively, 10 tackles for Mr. Fake Girlfriend, Manti Te'o. He had the only sack of the game. Interceptions. 1 for Budda Baker, Antoine Bethea. I thought Bortles threw 3. Maybe he did throw 2, and I'm just on crack. The LA Rams defeat their divisional rival Seattle Seahawks 24-17. Looking at the stats, Lamar Jackson with a very solid performance. A meh game from Russell Wilson. On the other side, running the ball, Melvin Gordon was meh. Touchdowns for Ty Montgomery and LeGarrette Blunt force trauma. Receiving, nice game from Marvin Jones with a touchdown. 2 for Jamison Crowder, the new New York Jet. Sacks, 2 allowed by DJ Humphries, 1 by Marcus Gilbert and Angie Levitre. 10 tackles for the Honey Badger. Sacks, 2 for Reuben Foster, 1 for Linval Joseph and Drew Tranquil. Interceptions, 1 for Whitney Merciless and AJ Bouye. The winning streak is adjourned for New England as they lose to Cincinnati 35-28. Lots of points. Tyree Jackson with a phenomenal game. Nick Foles played very well too. Running the ball, CJ Anderson was pretty good. Josh Jacobs with that pitiful yards per carry. That's probably his highest of the season, and that's not good. He had a touchdown, so did Samaje Perine. Receiving, Doug Baldwin with a touchdown. Adam Humphrey scored. Jarvis Landry scored. Albert Wilson got a touchdown. Charles Clay. Ashley Mobley. Mickey Crum III. That might be the greatest name I've ever seen. Sacks allowed, 2 from Andre Dillard, 1 from Gabe Jackson. 9 tackles for the big boy Malik Jackson. Sacks, 2 for Justin Houston, 1 for Jackson and Cornelius Washington, former Lion. And the only interception of the game was by Brandon Carr. The Indianapolis Colts beat the Houston Texans in a battle of 2 users, 27-21. Mr. Biscuit and Ben Roethlisberger, neither of them played particularly well. Running the ball, big game for Todd Gurley. Giovanni Bernard wasn't too bad. Austin Eckler with a score. Receiving-wise, touchdown for Todd Gurley, touchdown for Danny Amendola and Eric Ebron. Blocks, 3 sacks allowed by Kyle Long, 2 by Orlando Brown, 2 by Laken Tomlinson, 1 from Vladimir Ducasse and George Fant. 9 tackles for Anthony Hitchens, 8 for Von Miller. Sacks, 3 for Trey Hendrickson of all people, 1.5 for Von Miller and Devon Gutschall, 1 for Noah Spence, half a sack for Patrick Robinson, Kayvon Webster, Danico Autry, and Junior Gillette. Interceptions, 1 for Marcus Williams, Anthony Brown, and Brandon Marshall. And last but not least, unfortunately, the Saints get the L 24-17 over Atlanta. Both teams are now 6-3, but the Falcons beat us twice, so they have the head-to-head tiebreaker. Looking at the stats, med game for Dwayne Haskins, pretty solid game from Carson Wentz, who started to pick it up after a very bad start to the season. Running the ball, Devontae Freeman was pretty good. Le'Veon was meh. Quiet game from Dalvin Cook. Receiving, nice performance from John Ross. Le'Veon Bell with a 75-yard reception. I'm assuming that was a touchdown. Nick O'Leary also got on the board. Blocking, 2 sacks allowed by Greg Little, the former Falcon, 1 from Ryan Ramczyk and Morgan Moses. 13 tackles for Devin White, 7 for Anthony Barr. Sacks, 1.5 for Khalil Mack, 1 for Miles Jack, 1 for George Johnson, and half a sack for Snacks Harrison, and an interception from Trey Wayne.